Dog fans, welcome to Hunker Down, Impact Media's weekly dive through the hedges into the world of the UGA Bulldogs football club, squad, team, future CEOs of the world, whatever you want to call them.
It's a circus
Uh,
right now.
Circus, there we go. There, see the circus. We'll go with circus. A
Yeah.
good circus. And two people that are the Cheshire Cats for this journey today are Jake Skinner and me, Jeremy York. How are you, bud?
Yeah, doing good, man. Can't complain. It's Monday, survived work and ready to just chill.
Yeah, that's yeah, you texted and said you were almost done at the gym, and I come home and went to what I call the impact gym of loading up old couches and things to go to the dump tomorrow. So I probably had a similar workout to you.
Maybe. I did you include I see. Yeah, you might have doing that one. Just depends on how much
I,
stuff it
I had
was and what
I
weight
had
you
three
lifted.
smoothies. I don't know if you had how if you just had the two. I had three smoothies.
I had one protein shake and ate a bowl of apple cinnamon oatmeal protein oatmeal. Shout,
I
shout out
should
to
have did that.
Kodiak. Shout out to Kodiak for making really good protein oats.
Oh, Kodiak, the one that does the pancakes and stuff too.
The best pancakes. They
Thank you to Shark Tank for featuring those guys so that I knew to get their stuff. Their stuff's awesome.
Yeah. It's
I get
delicious food. I mean, the pancakes taste like Cracker Barrel.
Might be a little better.
Might be.
I ate a Cracker Barrel over the weekend, so it was good, but I should have got pancakes. Anyway, people who don't eat pancakes very often are the UGA Bulldogs, who, it would be fun to come on here and go, gosh, another nail biter, man. They were just really having to scrap and scrounge, but nope, we're going to make fun of some other teams later on who just completely dropped it. Just,
Yeah, that's true, but I'm still
man.
gonna have to complain.
Oh,
That's
sure.
my weekly. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. For those Georgia fans who've been around a while, you remember Kirby's first coach, offensive coordinator that we had with Kirby, Jim Chaney. Mike Bobo is the Ch Jim Chaney on Ozempic. That is all he is.
That's a great line, too.
Um, Thank you. I can't take full credit. I did see that on a message board, but nonetheless, it is absolutely true. Georgia did not play a great game.
No, they didn't.
The best way I could describe it is your defensive. I'll start on defense because I could rant all day about offense. But your defense, you're relying on guys to get better and play fast. The sad part is your linebackers right now, we don't have the depth. We don't have the teach. I don't know what's happened in that room, but the young guys are not coming on like we expected them to. Um, there's just too many mistakes with the eyes. They're not paying attention, or they're paying attention, but they're half a step off. That's gonna get better. They just gotta challenge themselves in the film room more. So that's the situation Georgia's got to fix. Secondary, they're playing too soft. I'm starting to think that we need to make a change at the defensive back coach Dante Williams that came from California. I was excited to have him come in from Southern Cal from USC, but the problem is Cormani McClain that's at Alabama has looked all world in comparison to how he looked at USC under Dante. Dante has made our secondary very soft. I don't like it. Um, Defensive line, some of the guys that we're running out there they've been bust. We don't have the right guys, so we're going to have to look at next year and the year after. We know what this team is now. We might make the playoff. If we do, maybe we win a game, but we're not. This is not a title winning team. Manage expectations, everybody. We'll win a bowl game at least, but this isn't going to be a title winning team unless they do something. I just don't see it. Defense had missing tackles. They did better this game, but they weren't great. Chaz Chandler still cannot set an edge to save his life. He gets sucked in again after a couple of
But he
weeks. So
did
like
have 130. He had 33.3% of the sacks this team had on the.
only because the other guys chased him where he was completely locked up on on a blocker. I'm just saying, like I get it, but I
Blind
can't
squirrel
a
still
sack
got the
is a
nut.
sack, but stats will lie to you all day long. It was not a great play. Like he did okay, but Dan Jackson's playing his heart out. Like this defense, this is not a Kirby Smart typical defense, and I don't know
No.
if it's the defense isn't simple enough, or if these guys are just a step behind where they should be. I know the camps were not as physical as years previous because Kirby's trying to protect them. He's learned his mistake already. I think he's going to find new ways to prepare them better for the long season next year.
Yeah.
So chalk this up to learning experience and players not doing their thing. Offense, you got an offensive line that needs these kids to grow, and they're just not growing yet. We basically, someone described playing five offensive guards out there. We don't have a true tackle. We've whiffed on getting a few of them. I mean, Freeling might be the best chance at one, but he's just not there. And the tackles we did sign are a year or two away from starting. So Georgia's got them, but they're not there yet. So this is a title. This could be title roster in another year or two again. So like, was hoping for three out of four. I think it's gonna be more like 3 out of 5 or 3 out of 6 by the time Georgia wins another one.
Yeah.
That's just managing expectations. Carson is looking okay, but goes back to, oops, I forgot I muted. I thought I didn't mute that. But the fact is, it doesn't matter when your coordinator is still not setting you up to do anything. He wants you to play man on man and just do your thing. I didn't even have to look at the stats. I just literally went. My dad's texting me, and I'm like, "Hey, so let me guess." Because I was in a different town with my friends hanging out. I hadn't seen him forever, and I wasn't watching. And I was like, "Let me guess." Arian keeps getting thrown the ball. He goes, "Yeah," and he keeps dropping and not doing anything with it. I said, "Cool." And ETN's on the sideline. He goes, "Yeah, he's on the sideline." I'm like, there it is again. Best players still aren't playing. I can beat this horse till it's dead, and it's already dead. It's stupidity. We got to have a new voice in there. If we continue to keep Bobo around, Georgia fans, prepare for a long ride of mediocrity on the offense because no one's going to want to play for us. We're going to lose recruits. Like
That's right.
it's embarrassing. Kirby can fix it. I don't believe Kirby will stick with what's not working. He's just going to save face for the rest of this year and live with the choices. But we got to get more dynamic running. I think that's on blocking and doing some motion, doing some sweet having your guard get out in front and start running. We have athletic guards. Let them get out in space and block and get to the second and third levels. But no, we're not doing it. And I like Branson. Great, great story coming back from injury. But the fact of the matter is, you can't trust Branson to do anything more than 8 carries for 14 yards this game. No, you can't trust him. Like your other two backs, ETN and Frazier, both averaged 5.5 and 5.4 yards per carry.
Now
You
Dylan
stick with
Bell had a
those
good
two.
average too.
And Dylan Bell had 18 on a great run. So you
Yeah.
trust those two guys and let Dylan come in the toss sweep or something.
Yeah.
But then jet motion, you do anything else but what you're doing. Like, yes, this might be Monken's playbook. So you got to go, like of course, I said, find a quarterback who knows Monken system or Kirby. Realize that Monken's system might be too complex for someone other than that. Because like even Kiffin's system at Bama failed after so long. Go find a coordinator, let them say, look, here's what we want to do. Call it your way, bring your terminology. Let's change up the terminology to fit what they already know, but let's make this work. So you got to get a new voice in there. I don't think any of their coaches should be on the hot seat other than the two I've mentioned, Dante Williams and Bobo. Outside of that, I mean, I don't know if you get a new voice in some places potentially, but Georgia's this season's cooked. We know what they are. This is maybe a three loss and sneak into the playoff or win a bowl game. Accept what it is, dog fans. It's not going to be the most fun year of our lives. No matter if we drop 40 a game with Bobo the rest of the year, it's still not the right call long term.
I got them as still probably a top four, top five team. They're obviously not going to have that
Oh, I
seed
agree. They could be.
because they're not going to finish that high. They're not going to win the SEC. Or I mean, they still could, but they're probably not going to win the SEC.
Mm-mm.
But that is not helping. That is not the graphic I wanted. But I mean, this team is. I agree with you that I don't. A lot of things have got to change, or you got to hit a few things that fall your way towards the end, preferably when you get to the round of 8 and the round of 4, if you want to find yourself in a title game. Because right now, if you run up on Texas, who you do have in a couple weeks, Ohio State for sure. I'll throw Penn State in there, and maybe Alabama or Tennessee if they match up again, and obviously they're going to play them
Hmm.
again. I don't know that you necessarily win those. You might luck out, and I don't believe in luck. So
Right.
you may catch them sleeping and be able to edge them a little bit here and there if you can stay in the game. But if you had to line up and play those guys right now, like I said, at least Texas and OSU are running slap through you enough to
Hmm.
where attendance is going to look more like my picture than your picture, and
Yeah,
that's unfortunate because this team deserves a lot more than that.
that's true.
But
So Derek Carr just lobbed one and threw a pick six, falling
that's the
backwards, threw
Derek
one up in the air. Yeah,
that's the Derek Carr we all know and love.
that's true. So back to what you're saying, like with the background, I gotta admit, Georgia's got to do better.
Hmm.
The fans, like I get it. We've been spoiled for 3 years of winning. I'm not arguing any of that, okay? We love our dogs. But the thing is we've got to support them no matter what happens.
Yes.
Like we've gotten spoiled, so like yes, we won 2 titles back to back. But the fact is, it doesn't matter if it's win, lose, whatever weather. Georgia travels. That's one thing that they've done. Now they're booing. We kind of needed to reset our expectations. So like dog fans, just be patient, be loud. Yes, Kirby called us out. Okay, I wasn't at the game, but Kirby called him out because he has to. He's got to do what he's got to do because he's blaming the fans for not making a more menacing atmosphere because Georgia, yes, the product on the field is not what we're used to. It's not set to the standard. But I mean, the USC teams under Pete Carroll had a few years that were not up to standard, and they brought it back and got close. Texas still sells out, and they're not always up to the standard. Bama has had moments where they were not up to their standard, and
Right.
the fans are still there. Yeah, but the thing is, Saban had to say the same thing about the fan base. Everyone's had to, and the fans are getting
Yep.
mad and upset. Well, guess what? He's going to put a product on the field, but it just might be, guess what? The team is less developed than you thought because all the talented players, not that these aren't talented, but everyone went to the NFL or transferred, mostly to the NFL. This group of seniors is talented and will go to the NFL, but them and the ones behind them might be the better players because we had maybe a gap or so. They just haven't developed the way you want them to.
Yep.
It goes up here. They got to retain the knowledge and then put the knowledge down. Some of these kids may not be doing that, or they take it, but they're not skilled enough to learn how to do it the right way. They can learn it all
Right.
day long, but they can't put it to action. So that's the only thing I can think of. But fans, we got to do better. Like trust them. Yes, Bobo's going to suck. Just we lived through Brian Schottenheimer being the coordinator. Okay. If we can live through that in a long season and still come out winning we got Kirby out of it, we can survive this. Just suck it up, expect a bowl game, win the bowl game, and call it a good year. Not a great year, but a good year, and let's see if Kirby can fix the standard. If this becomes a situation where it's every year we're struggling, then we need new voices all around that team.
I mean,
But
at least, kickers are still pretty on point. Thorson was doing some really good ones. He pinned them
I'm
deep
not
a couple.
arguing that. I mean, ETN had a great
Uh,
game. I mean,
yeah.
our players overall are having great games, but
Yeah.
offense is not being put in the best place to succeed.
Right.
And then the defense, this team is built to hunt. Well, you can't really hunt when you're playing close games. But also, like I said, you got a lot of younger guys that are having to learn, freshmen, sophomore, that are having to learn with their eyes how to play. Nakobe Dean had one really good year. Most of our linebackers have 1 to 2 good years and then go pro. These guys have got to learn with their eyes how to play it, and they're just not seeing it yet. Something's not clicking. At some point, this team will click. They need more reps. They need to tackle better. All of this
Yeah.
stuff comes down to more practice time, which they didn't get because of either injury or because of the way that we had to change things for the new playoff era. Like Kirby's made a mistake. He already recognizes it. He's going to fix it, but it might be too late for this year unless something miraculous happens. So we'll see.
Yeah. So let's swap. Let's talk a little bit about this week, and then let's get into the people who stole the weekend headlines from their I don't know, lack of finishing, I guess is a good way to say it,
Yeah,
or get caught. But who they got this week? They got
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State. The Bulldogs
Yep.
got some family out that way. Shout out to them. Starkville is a fun place to
Oh
go,
yeah,
but it's a lot like Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's a lot like Troy, Alabama. If you're not in or around the university, I hope you like farmland.
true. I mean they don't look good this year. I'm looking some stuff like they've won
Uh,
one game. They play. It looks like I'll be honest. I haven't
who
kept
did
up
they
with them a
beat?
ton. They've only had one Eastern Kentucky.
Okay, that's not bad.
They played Arizona State in one game. Um, that was a
Oh
seven
yeah,
point
yeah.
loss,
Because I
and
know a
Mississippi
Mississippi
State had to
State
come
fan,
from
and
behind to
yeah,
still lose. So this team, I mean, what isn't this Lebby's first or second year there? It's his second year. Yeah, because we lost the Pirate 2 years ago, and last year we had his
yeah.
defensive coordinator. Um, so it's his first year. It's Mississippi State. What else do you expect? I mean, he's trying to change some things up. So Georgia's
Well,
going to
he's
win.
he's he's having to out recruit Lane in that area, and that's
Yeah,
hard.
he is. He is. It's
Lane's
hard.
a good recruiter.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and jump to a score prediction on this one. 31-13 again. But I don't think we're going to score 40 with Bobo.
Yeah,
If we do score, it'll be a progression, which someone said hashtag Bobo steps because this is what happens. You take Bobo steps, not baby steps, Bobo steps, and it still ends up you failing somehow. So, Georgia scores, we win. It's not explosive. It's boring, yawn fest because, hey, guess what? We can't be explosive anymore with what we're doing. So,
Let's see.
that's my
So
thought.
you're saying four touchdowns total then and a field goal
I'm
roughly
saying three offensive touchdowns,
and a
maybe a pick
defensive.
six
Hmm.
if we're lucky, because we only had 8 drives. We scored on 4 of them, and the fifth one we kicked a field goal. Granted, we didn't have a
Understandable.
ton of drives in that game because both teams are just Georgia was fine with taking 11 plays for 70 something yards for 5, 6 minutes. Granted, that's you can do that, but no one wants that. Not when you are Georgia is doing so little with so much talent. How can you do so little with
Yeah.
so much? That's what's hurting them. It's infuriating if you're a dog fan. Like even if you're not a dog fan and you watch this, like you have to understand and respect the fact that Georgia is one of the best recruited teams in the country. Kirby has done a great job, but he could, he should have put some different people in position. He's made some mistakes. He's only proven he's gotten the coordinator position hiring correct one time, and
Yeah.
that was hiring Munkin. So he's got to do it again. I don't know what his idea was, but he might need to look inside and go recruit the defense, but be willing to give up a few more points a game to win the title. To wit, and be go in and have the blowout, go in and have a 50-point game. Yeah, we might give up 20 instead of 7, but we can live with it because hey, our offense is looking good and we can recruit kids that want to come here on the offense for once.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just trying to see what they 8 passing touchdowns, 8 rushing touchdowns. I'm not gonna say it's balanced. I'm just gonna say they do pretty much as much rushing as they do passing because
hmm
it's not on purpose that it's looks like they get about 380 total yards a game. Yeah, I like that score. I like 31-13. That's pretty close. Just for the sake of doing something different, 34-14. I'll say it's a full on 20
yeah.
points. Um,
No, I agree. Like, for
they're just in
example,
two different places. Like
they're in
Mississippi State is at the bottom trying to recover from losing the Pirate, and because that really punched him right in the gut because he was starting to build some stuff. It just they lost part of the culture when he left, and it's going to take a minute for Levy to bring that back up. And you got Georgia, who was on top of the mountain for so long, have come back down to maybe get a
they've
Starbucks or
slipped.
something before coming back up.
Yeah, every team has a down year. I mean, Saban had a few years there where his team didn't win the title, and then they won again, and they get. It happens with everybody. It's just,
Yeah,
it's coaching decisions have not. We beat up ourselves. Kirby and company beat up themselves. Don't know why. Don't know what's in their head, but they all have to get better at that one and look internally. And I think this season's a good reset for every Georgia
yeah,
fan. They kind of needed a system reset. So
yeah.
bring expectations back down, but you can't expect to win every game. And Georgia had such a good streak that every Georgia fan, and myself included, thought we could just win every game forever. But that's not feasible, not possible. You're gonna get beat at some point. But it's how you
Yeah.
come back and how you keep fighting. And Georgia can do that, but we got to make some changes before we can become that fighter again.
And prediction Carson Beck will be a LA Ram next year.
They got Stetson, so I don't know that they'll do that. But I think Carson has played himself back down to a day 2, second round pick when he's really a first round. He could be a first round quarterback.
He could be, but I mean, sometimes you want to fall a little bit so you go to a better team.
Sure.
You know, maybe he's a Charger, maybe he's a Ram. Those are places I would look at.
Yeah.
Sit for a couple years and then take it. Now he's not taking over the Chargers, but he could take over if Stafford left. He just have to beat out Stetson.
Yeah, and Stetson's already kind of handpicked there because they love him. Like they want him to do better. They're giving him every chance they can. Because honestly,
They can't
Stetson's
they
got
just
that
can't find it.
mentality.
They just can't find enough boxes for him to stand on to throw over the line.
Get him out wide.
A lot of flats, a lot of
Yeah.
flats. Just like his wing order, a lot of flats. But there's some people who stole the headlines, which was good for a Georgia team that lacked the power that we wanted to see. I very much was going to own the fact that my Michigan Wolverines got beat by the better team, Washington. I felt that we were going to take that one on the chin anyway. I was pretty sure we weren't going to win it. And then I was following some other games, and I was like, okay, well, let's go through the top 25 here. Penn State, they won. Texas A&M, they beat Missouri. Missouri was number 9. They were 25.
I know.
Louisville
Arkansas beat
drops a
Tennessee.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, got Tennessee's going to be on
Dude,
that list.
Miami
Louisville lost.
struggled to a win. Like they had a great fourth quarter, Miami did against Cal, but Cal put them
Yeah,
against the ropes. Like good on Cal. They're proving the AC. Like I hate the fact that they're cross country ACC, but I think that's a good fit because that's a decent football team right there.
like you said, Arkansas over number 4 Tennessee. Okay,
Minnesota,
well,
USC.
I was really looking forward to talking about that, man. Tennessee maybe had that hiccup that'll wake them up. So when they play Georgia, it'll be a better game in a couple weeks. Oh, and then my phone's blowing up, and I was watching it everywhere I possibly could. I was getting updates while I was picking up food for my wife for the ride home. I was constantly trying
Hmm.
to find it somewhere. Uh, Vanderbilt finds a way to hang on against number 1 Alabama. Now, the first thing I will say is Alabama may have won a bet, a gentleman's agreement I had with a friend of mine last week by knocking off Georgia. But the fact that they lost to Vanderbilt, that is exceptional. I would almost give
Yeah.
my prize back if it wasn't due to me tomorrow morning. So
Yeah. I feel you. Like the
that
fact
was
is
so great.
Milrow had it's I'm looking at the stats on this, but like Alabama got out physicaled. I don't care if
Oh
that's
yeah, they got
grammatically
shoved
correct or
around
not.
all night.
They got shoved around. It's what Georgia should have done to them, but Georgia just
Hmm.
isn't physical. That's it. Georgia's not physical enough on the defense just
That's
yet. I don't know
that's
why, but
exactly
they're
what
just
it
not.
is.
They got soft. So, but Vanderbilt played some football that makes me like Vandy is always going to get somebody. I think if
Sure,
Vandy can out physical Alabama, they can out physical Texas. I honestly
they
think
can.
Texas might get welcome to the SEC moment against Vandy now. Like I already thought that game was going to happen. Now I believe that game could be something. Like I really do. Because I'm sorry, but like no offense to Texas and Oklahoma, but your first year in the conference, you don't win a title first year in our conference. This is the
Well,
SEC.
and let's get this out of the way. The what is it? Transient property or whatever it is,
Yeah.
where it's okay. Vanderbilt beats Alabama. A couple weeks ago, Georgia State beats Vanderbilt. Does that mean Georgia State could beat
No.
Alabama? They could,
They could on the
but
right Saturday.
I would be willing to bet about 87 to 89 times out of 100, you're not going to. So,
For them
Georgia
to do
State
that, they're
fans,
going to
let's
have
get
to
this out of the
stand
way.
on one foot, point to the sky, and pray that the stars align. Because I mean, it's just not going to happen.
Well,
But
it goes
I mean,
one. It
Vandy,
does go one deeper than that because this is where I'm gonna make some Panther fans very mad. Because if you guys actually believe that that's the way that sports work, not only are you as far away from, I mean, you're literally like sitting up here as far as the rest of us are down here watching the game. Georgia Southern beat you. Do you think Georgia Southern can beat Alabama too? I don't think both of you combined could do it. And you're both good schools, you're good
yeah,
programs. If you if you lined it up, yes, dumb things can happen, crazy things can happen. I, if you would have asked me if either three of those schools could beat Alabama, I'd say no.
yeah. No, I get it. I didn't. You didn't. You come into the game hoping. I mean, that was Vanderbilt's first win since what the '70s against Alabama, '70s or '80s,
Something
because they
like
don't
that.
play every year. But I mean,
No.
that is their first. They were 0-60 against top five teams coming into this game. Clark Lee has turned that program around already. Know that Vanderbilt will not be that kind of team that's a powerhouse. But they catch you on occasion. Like they've caught Georgia
They're gonna
numerous
wreck some
times.
people. They're gonna wreck
Right.
some people the
They're
rest
going
of
to
this
do
year. I'm
that.
looking at the
Georgia has
schedule.
to be careful.
They're
Anyone
gonna
that
wreck
plays
some people.
Vandy is going to have to be careful. But the fact of the matter is, Alabama, like this is not Nick Saban Alabama team. This is welcome back to earth. Like you think, like someone said, you thought last week was a passing of the torch. Like, hey, Bama fans, for those Bama, which I'm not, those Alabama fans out there, if things just because our coach left, we're getting our savior still here. I saw someone describe this as welcome to the Les Miles era, meaning you might get one more title with the current players, but that's all you're
Okay.
gonna get. Maybe two, but you're gonna enter a period of down before it gets back better because I mean, listen, the SEC is about physicality.
Yeah.
If you're gonna get beat, like Georgia was not physical enough in some, and it's not been physical enough in a few games. They could have lost a few. Vanderbilt is so physical right now that they wanted it. They were hungry. Alabama came in thinking they had it. Milroe thought he had it. All of them. And I'm going to go ahead and call out number 13 on the defense for Alabama. Did you see that?
Which thing?
I think Malachi Moore is his name. I apologize if I got that wrong. He was pitching an absolute toddler tantrum,
Oh, yeah, he's the one
throwing
doing
his
it. I
mouth
never
guard.
saw the number, but yeah.
He literally throws his mouth guard, is screaming and cussing at the other team and his players. He's a senior or graduate. He knows better than this. He literally got his coaches walked onto the field to collect him, and he sent the coaches up with their tails tucked. The coaches walked back to the sideline with it. No, you call a timeout
Oh,
right then if you still have one, and you grab him and you yank him off the field because you don't do that under Nick Saban or Kirby Smart.
I don't even call a timeout. I take his helmet and go, "You're done."
Right. He should be yanked off the field. I don't care if you get a penalty for being on the field. You yank him off because that's what you do. And then he
Hmm.
goes up and they set the ball. He kicks the ball. Like that's horrible. I get it. You're upset. I have been that angry myself in life. I think we all can say we have,
Yeah,
but it still does not excuse acting that way and on TV in a football game. You have to
no,
have composure. The kid doesn't have it, and he should be if he is playing the next 2 weeks for Bama, that says everything you need to know about
yep,
the standard that's set. Because guess what? Your standard that you had under Saban is now officially gone. It's over.
yep,
And
yeah.
then if that's the case, I don't see a title unless you get a lucky, like that, as my dad always said, that lucky horseshoe that gets shoved up somewhere, like Auburn used to have.
Yeah, they're talking about in your nose for all the kids listening. We're talking about a
Yes,
horseshoe in your nose because
absolutely.
that's it kind of matches some of the culture nowadays, which is fine. That's their
Yeah,
choices.
it's that little ring right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a mini horseshoe. It's not a big one.
true.
Uh, what was I looking at? Yeah, because there's only if we actually look at it. Let me go back to where I was at. I said as far as top 10, there's only maybe three or four that I think stand a chance to actually win a national title
Yeah,
if it were played today. And that's Texas, that's Ohio State, which pains me a lot. Um, I'll be honest, Dan Lanning, right up at Oregon, he's got them playing pretty good.
he's got them playing good, but
And
I don't believe, like looking at this, it's their first year.
yeah,
I think they have, if they will finish undefeated, depending on how this game against Ohio State goes. I don't know that they are the same team that they were last year, the year before, especially last year. Uh, I will say this: James Franklin's going to James Franklin a game at some point. Like, yes, they're okay, but like he 21-7 against Illinois, 27-11. They got USC this week, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Washington, Purdue. Purdue's an easy win. Minnesota and Maryland. Minnesota's playing decent. Like I don't think Penn State can go undefeated. Miami's not going undefeated. Ohio State might go undefeated, and Texas.
mm,
The Ohio State one depends on this weekend and the Michigan game. Depend because Michigan's not the
yeah,
same Michigan team, but you never know. That
no,
game is always a
that's
toss-up.
true.
Oklahoma could wipe out Texas. Georgia could wipe out Texas. Vanderbilt could wipe out Texas. Arkansas, depending on the day, can wipe out Texas because they looked pretty good this past weekend at times. And Texas A&M's looking a lot better. And Kentucky has it's a tough schedule for any team at this point. Like the days of being truly undefeated are gone. I don't think you're going to see it happen that much more. If a team does it, you better thank your lucky stars you pulled it off.
Yeah, and we don't have enough time to go into it, but real quickly, I'm just going to throw this out here. We're going to do this next week where we know the top four teams get a bye. These are the matchups that would be the first round of the 12 game playoff. You would get Georgia hosting Notre Dame. You get Miami hosting Iowa State. Alabama is hosting Clemson. Am I doing that right? Yeah. Tennessee, no. 12. Yeah. And then Tennessee would host the Lane Kiffins. Those are all four matchups that I absolutely would watch. We will go into that next week because some of that will change. But about 2 minutes left. Any final words on the UGA Bulldogs?
Uh, Basically just the same thing, Georgia fans. I just want you all to pay attention to it. Like
They're playing tougher.
Trust in Kirby. It's gonna be okay. It's
Mhm.
not the end of the world. We're gonna be okay. So
Yeah.
just trust in him. It's all good.
Absolutely. And I agree. They got to play more physical. They got to play a little tougher. I'm not saying they're not tough. I'm just saying if they play a little more physical, which is Kirby football, then I think this team is fine.
Exactly. I think they'll be okay. I don't see a reason why they can't play good football the rest of the year and pull something out. Like again, I don't see this team winning a title, but I do see them playing really good football going forward. And I
I didn't
think
see
just manage your
I didn't see
expectations.
Vanderbilt beating Alabama either. So I mean, I guess it could still happen.
No, anything can still happen, but we'll just see how it goes on the rest of the time
Yep,
for sure.
absolutely. But that's been another great edition of Hunker Down. He's Jake Skinner. I'm Jeremy York. We will see you guys next week. Deuces, gooses, go
Deuce,
dogs.
go dogs.